we let the room fill up here, and then I'll give you the introduction.
Okay. Should I share my screen now, or
you could do it now or do it after I kick it over to you here.
Okay.
And like I said, we'll just wait a few minutes here till we hit the top of the hour. Usually coaches start filtering in then too. So I can't remember. I'm forgetting the days and what I've made live, but I think your podcast was it up last week or are we up this week? Man, we're up this week. I think tomorrow, actually.
Nice.
All things fly.
All things fly. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I'll start your introduction here, Coach. And Coach and I were talking here. He's going to be on the Coaching Coordinator podcast this week. Follow me on Twitter at Coach K. Grabowski to see all we do with our great high school, college, NFL coaches who join us on the podcast, as well as hear more about what we've been doing at USA Football with the football development model. I had the opportunity to meet Coach via email. I think it was 2002, and I bought a Coach's Choice video with Coach in there, and I loved it. I had not seen the fly sweep before, had not been introduced to it, but loved the concept, and immediately emailed him, and I got back a VHS tape, like 2 hours worth of cut-ups from Coach. Is really dating us, Coach, VHS. And he's just been a great resource for everything that I've really gone on and done with offense. A lot of the concepts that were gleaned from the stuff that he sent me, learned directly from the stuff that he sent me. And number one, I'm appreciative that you did that back then, and I'm appreciative that you're here to share some ideas with coaches today. So without further ado, Coach, I will turn it over to Mark Spectman, the assistant head coach and running backs coach at UC Davis.
All right. Thank you, Keith. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And appreciate the opportunity. I know I've learned a lot over the years through clinics, and I've got a lot of material here, so I'm going to kind of go lickety split, and I'll check if there's any questions or anything. This is my contact information, if you guys, and I'll put this on at the end also if you want to get a hold of me. But I'm going to talk about the fly sweep for any offense, and all right, you can get this thing going here. All technical difficulties. Here we go. So my background, I coached high school football for 17 years. I coached at some small schools, some big schools, city, country. I've coached for 21 years in college. I've been to Division I, Division III. I've been NAIA. I've had a chance to coach professionally in Canada for 2 years. And I've kind of run some version of the fly offense at all these stops, and had success pretty much at most of all these places, as far as running the fly offense. That the fly has become very popular. It's really common now. It used to be when prior to when I met Keith, people would call me if somebody in the pros ran a fly sweep and say, hey, I saw a fly sweep. And, now my phone would be ringing a lot more. And so some people call it the jet. Some people call it the speed. I call it the fly. And I'm saying I'm right. Fast guy around the corner is the appeal. I think a lot of people think they got a guy that can really scoot. And we're going to talk about that. I'm not sure it has to be a fast guy per se, but I do think that there is a skill to it. It easily adds some deception to an offense. And I think that's one of the things the NFL has done a really nice job of in the last few years of bringing that component into it. The fly sweep has been the cornerstone of what I call the fly offense since 1979. And from an offensive standpoint, I think everybody's got some kind of a philosophy. But my philosophy has always been, I'm going to beat you with the sweep, or I'm going to beat you with the sweep. And what I mean by that is, if you don't defend it, we're going to run it so well. We're going to gain a lot of yards and have big plays. And if you defend it well, then we're going to make you pay for that. And that all sounds good. Whoever has the chalk last, I get it. But that's kind of the thought process behind the offense. What I'm going to talk about here, and I'm going to go kind of fast, is these basic 6 things, and they kind of blur together in certain parts of this talk. But the first one is the edges that you can run the sweep to. And what I call as an edge is, if you have a guard, tackle, and a tight end, can you run a sweep to that edge? And can you run a sweep to a guard, a tackle, a tight end, and a wing? And can you run a sweep to a guard and a tackle and 2 wide receivers? And can you run to an unbalanced? And so it kind of goes on. And that's kind of how I game planned when I was head coach and offensive coordinator, was how do you line up to each edge, and what edge gives us an advantage to run the sweep. I think the main part of what I'm going to talk about is this right here, the mesh behind, because I think if you're putting the fly in, no matter what offense it is, this is where I see people making big mistakes. And I also see people that do it well having the most success. So I'm going to talk about DC. To me is behind center, and obviously shotgun. I'm going to talk briefly about perimeter blocking and show you some, and show you how we've developed it. I'm going to spend very little time about interior blocking, but there are a couple of key points that I want to make. I'm going to talk about our stoplight system, where we have a couple different types of sweeps. Obviously, a stoplight has a green light, a yellow light, and a red light, and that's kind of how we teach our sweep system. And then I'll mention some counter punches if we have time. I'm starting with the worst film you've ever seen here, but this is where I learned the fly offense. I didn't invent it. I didn't invent the fly sweep. I'll take credit for running for a long time. But this guy here is in a 3-point stance, cocked in. This is at Delano High School in Delano, California. And Gene Beck is the guy that kind of I got this film from. And you can see that basically the guy in a 3-point stance, and they hand him the sweep. They pull the guard, which I don't believe you should do if you watch all these clips, and I've studied this extensively. I think the guard just gets in the way. As you can see here, he's pretty much looks like a traffic cop, out of place. And that's kind of where it originated, in my opinion. I don't know if it's true, maybe earlier, but again, guy gets out of his 3-point stance. There's the guard in the way doing nothing, and they still get a big play. And just like the Wizard of Oz, now we get to color. And one of the reasons I like, this is us at UC Davis, one of the reasons I like running the fly sweep or having the motion part, is things it does to the defense. So if you watch the motion defender run into the linebacker defender, these are things that just, again, that are just added benefits to building some deception or building something that the defense, they just don't practice that a lot. They don't practice chasing things full speed. It just causes some grief. And so kind of, I was always sold, starting as a defensive coach, that this really, that motion kind of caused a lot of problems. And let's get into the mesh here real quick. I think the key things I want you to pay attention to is the approach, the mesh, and the slide step. And I call it rounding first base. And so when we teach the fly sweep timing from behind center, the key component is the mesh timing is the quarterback's responsibility. And so if this guy's trying to time it and the quarterback's trying to time it, you're going to really struggle, because they're both going to be tentative. I tell this guy, you want to be building speed, building speed, building speed. You should be about 90% when you get here. And that quarterback's job is to turn 180 degrees, or I call it a fly step. And the mesh is going to happen right behind him. We tell this guy to aim 1 yard behind the quarterback, 1 yard behind the quarterback, and then take one slide step. And a slide step is basically a step, like you're walking down a hallway, and then you just slide, just kind of push off the inside foot. You don't really, it's kind of a subtle move, but you don't want to run it 90 degrees and make a cut. So the slide step kind of is like rounding first base is what I tell the players. And So, and then we talk about slide and hide, and we really try to hide the football. And I made my guys hold the football on their hip because you can't see the football. And if they don't have the ball, I have them grab their jersey down here, and they got to pump this arm, because if you don't have the ball and you're pumping both arms, that's fairly easy to see. But if you don't see the handoff and you see a guy grabbing his jersey and pumping that arm, a lot of times that the defensive backs, I've had these guys tackled a lot of times out here on the perimeter and somebody going somewhere else with the football. And so if a kid doesn't feel comfortable doing this in a game, I don't make them do it in a game. They can go ahead and tuck it. And I know running back coaches and ball security guys are cringing, but the sweeper's never going to get blown up right away. And so we practice this, and then this kid obviously felt very comfortable and had a lot of success doing that. So after we slide and hide, we want to catch the lead back. We call that catch. And if there is no lead back, we say catch the ghost, meaning we want to kind of pretend like there's a back there. We want to be on the outside of the lead back with our inside arm on his outside hip. This guy takes what I call a J step. It makes the letter J. And he wants to step. I tell him to step at 2 o'clock. I used to tell him to step at 3 o'clock. But they would get too deep. And so I tell them, I have this drawn at 3 o'clock, but really it's more like 225, just a little bit downhill and then go. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get to the film. And then set up the block. All right, and I'll have a drill for this and I'll show you. So approach, mesh, slide and hide, catch, and set up the block. So here's a good picture of a kid in catch position. So here's outside hip, here's his inside arm. The visual I tell our guys is think about the Blue Angels or the Thunderbirds or two jet fighters, wingtip to wingtip. If you're on the inside hip, it's just like any other run play. You don't have a two-way go. You can only go inside. But if you're on the outside, you can go outside or you can cut it back. And so I think it's really important that you get in that, what I call catch position. Get ready to set up the block. And then this is a common mistake. You can see we tell the running back, you want to aim for the outside armpit of whoever the widest guy is. You can see he's looking there, and this guy should be out here, but he sees an opening and they can't, I call it fool's gold. They can't stop themselves, and they're going to try to take this opening. If you were out here stretching it, this opening would be much bigger. So I always tell our guys, it's kind of like putting blocking dummies down and having a tackling drill. The closer the dummies are, the easier it is for the defender, and the wider the dummies are, the easier it is for the offense. And so here's the same game, same two guys, same play. He's trying to get to the outside armpit. He is on the outside. So if this guy gets a good block, he can continue to the sideline, or he can cut right off here. Much bigger hole than the last one. And I'll show you that on film. And then we talk about wait until the pads collide. So that's the terminology I use for the guy, the sweeper. We call this guy the sweeper. Is, hey, you keep stretching it until the pads collide, and then you make your move. And again, a lot of guys get out here and they see something, they see an opening, and they take it. And we, again, want to wait until the pads collide. I don't know what your offense is. I've run plays from behind center with split backs, offset eye, offset out of one back, from the pistol out of one back. I think the beauty of the fly sweep is that you can incorporate it no matter, there isn't a best or only way to align your running backs. Out of shotgun, we've done it out of split backs. We've done it out of pistol, or, kind of split back or eye and offset eye. We've done it off of offset back, and we've done it out of pistol. And again, I think there's, depending on your personnel and kind of what your offense is, I think all of them work. Let's take a minute on this. I think this is something I stole from a clinic a long time ago and have just kind of made ours. But we count the perimeter as the outside guy gets the first digit. So the corner is number 1. And then this guy, the force player, and I've got them different labels here, but there's going to be a force player, is number 2. And then the inside linebacker is number 3, and the closest safety is number 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Sometimes there is no number 2. And so we tell, if you have 2 in the blocking scheme, we tell you to block area 2 because somebody is coming into it. Either they're going to rotate or run. And so there's a couple times where we tell them to block the area. And if we have 2, so in our system, this guy would get the first digit and this guy would get the second digit. And so if I called a 21 scheme, he would go to number 2 and he would go to number 1. Or if I called a 12 scheme, he would go to 1 and he would go to 2. And if we thought it was man, we could say, hey, let's go 4, 2 and try to get what we call a 2-for-1 block. Obviously, if you add a receiver, you're going to have more digits. So this could be 142, or this could be 221. And I'm real big on double teaming this guy because this guy is usually a dude and this guy is usually a good route runner. And it's a physical mismatch when they try to block, but sometimes that could be a tight end or a bigger receiver. So let's go back here to this. So I just want to be real clear about that. When we're trying to run our sweeps, we are usually using some kind of a numbering system. The big problem I see with people that just dabble in the sweep is nobody really knows who to block. And so most teams say, just screw it, let's simplify it. So let's just block 1, and let's just block 2, and let's just block 3, or it becomes very confusing. And the other thing that happens a lot of times is, unless you call for a double team, 2 guys blocking 1 guy on the perimeter. So for example, if he blocked, this tailback blocked 2, and this guy blocked 2, unless you planned it or game planned it, usually there's going to be somebody unblocked. Our goal, we know they're going to have 4 guys, and we're going to have 4 guys, or they're going to have 3 guys, and we're going to have 3 guys. And so if we add the sweeper, we think it's 4 on 4 here. And so we want to leave the deepest guy for the sweeper and hopefully block however you can do it. There's a lot of ways to do it. But we want to block as the guys that are forcing. Now, if this corner is backing up and this safety is coming down, then we would account for that safety, and then the sweeper would have the corner. And I'll show you some film on that. The other thing that's a huge issue in the fly sweep is what do you do with this outside defensive end? And I call him the problem technique. This guy's a problem. And when we talk about fly sweeps, this is really the kind of, I really don't care what anybody else is doing on the defense. It's kind of these guys. And this goes back to your edges. Sorry about that, guys. I can hit that. But so there's a lot of ways to do this. You're going to see on the film, if I get to it, we're going to reach them. We're going to drive block them. We're going to down block. We're going to go ahead and down block and read them. There's a lot of ways to handle that problem technique. If you only have one way and this guy's better than you, you're probably not going to have very good success with the sweep. But over the years, we've had huge mismatches and have figured out ways to cut them, down block them, cross block them, read them, etc. So you'll see that on film. All right. Real quick, I'm going to go over this fast. We don't believe in pulling the guards. Guards get in the way. The theory of the play is that you can run around a 3 technique without blocking the 3 technique, and I believe that. And so if we think we can run around the 3 technique on the guard, why do we think the guard's going to be able to get out? And so we are way bigger about doing this. This guy has a big block on the sweep. He's got to do something because there's a problem technique. But the rest of these guys, we really try to get them. And you have to have a day 1 rule. So day 1 for me would be, let's just get on tracks and try to get up to linebackers. Try to get to linebackers. Let these guys run. Unless this guy's got a running back number and can run us down, most of these guys are huge human beings. Let's let them run a little bit. And then we tell them, hey, linebackers are like buses. If you miss one, there's always another one coming. And so as you saw just on those first couple of clips, this guard just kind of out here doing nothing. And so we try to not do that. And I try to discourage coaches who talk to me about the fly sweep about pulling guards. We try to get our butts to the ball, and we try to get to the outside triangle of the armpit of the linebacker. But, you can go ahead and run other plays and have the quarterback run another play. There's a lot of things. So really, just those 5 guys I showed you on the previous slide are what we worry about on sweep plays. All right, let's talk about the mechanics of this thing. Couple of things. I like to film this when we first introduce it, where we're on a line, because I want to see this guy slide step, and his apex of the slide step, he's going to aim 1 yard behind the quarterback, and then he's going to slide step and run. And all we're working on is the timing of the mesh. And again, it's up to the quarterback to time the mesh. So you can see that guy's a little bit deep. I say 4 is the deepest you want to get, somewhere in here. Again, I like not having it to be perfect, but want him to get there. And all we're working on is the timing with the receiver and the quarterback. And I like to do it. Another thing you'll see on almost every film I'm going to show you, we have somebody snapping the ball. Now, it could be a quarterback on his knee snapping the ball up, or because I was filming this, I put the center here. But if you just have the quarterback hold the ball, then it's going to really screw up your timing once you get to team. I've seen teams try it where the quarterback holds it and he's spinning around, handing the ball off. Then when you add the center, he's got to practice that. So we want to take the snap, and we want to time it, and then go into whatever you're going to have with sometimes a drop back, bootleg, run, something. And so when he doesn't have the ball, anybody that doesn't have the ball in the offense, I call him a deceptor. Somebody's looking at him and he can run fast and try to pull somebody away. Then the other angle I like to film it is straight ahead, because I want to see the quarterback 180 degrees turn all the way around. That's about it. That's a really good mesh right there. This kid's feet are real. I've had guys with wide feet, short feet. I've had guys hop. Again, I used to put cones out here, and I used to really make a big deal about overcoaching this thing. And now I tell them, hey, I want you to time it so that when the sweeper gets the ball, he's right here. If you're reaching this way, you're late. If you're waiting for him, you're early. And that's about all I tell them. And with reps, they kind of get it. Again, you probably should have here's another school. We had a lot of guys, so we're just kind of getting 2 lines going. They have 2 separate snap counts. They're just practicing the mesh. Again, you can see both quarterbacks are taking a good fly step. You can see the ubiquitous ball in the way. Somebody's going to break their ankle. And you can see these guys working on slide and hide right there. Nice job. Nice job. And if they didn't have the ball, they'd be grabbing their jersey. Now we're going to add the catch part to it. So we've worked on the approach, building up speed. We've worked on the quarterback timing and fly stepping. We've gotten the slide step, and now we want to catch this guy. And so a J step is going to be 1, 2, 3, and go. And you can have short steps. So if it's a red light sweep, it can be like that. If we're reading it, you can either go in or out, or if we're trying to get to the perimeter, you can take that path. I'll show you what I'm talking about as we go. But here's a good look at it. And again, wingtip to wingtip, try to get that inside arm on that outside hip, like that picture I showed you, and go and stretch it. Here it is from this angle. You should not be able to see the ball handed off. And when we have the quarterback turn, when he's in this position from behind center, we talk about dealing cards. So we always tell them to give long and fake short. That's critical, I think. But if you keep trying to stick the ball out there every time, it gets a little bit, if you can fumble it. The defense can't tell a little flinch as opposed to a long give. And so it's really hard to see, and he's got to be a good magician. That's a nice job of getting wingtip to wingtip right there and getting around the corner. And here it is again, another school. Here we're having them catch, and then just to overemphasize the stretch, we've got this guy way out here, and he is trying to run so that he cannot get outside, and we are trying to train our sweeper to not make a move until the pads collide. You can even see here, he's still a little early. That's the idea. All right, so let's talk about the addition of the shotgun. For me, the evolution was, hey, we had a 2-minute offense, and we had a short quarterback, so let's just put him in the shotgun on third long and take our chances. And then we started messing with, what can I time the sweep, and can we have the same back pass? I didn't want to change the offense. And then I really just wanted to be just like behind center. That was my whole goal. And so what we've learned over the years with the shotgun is everything is basically the same. Now your approach is going to be to the front of the quarterback. Your mesh is going to happen right in front of the quarterback. You no longer need a slide step because you're already deep. And then you still got to catch the back, and you still got to set up the block. So really, you take away the slide step. And then the key thing, and if you get nothing else out of my talk today, the mesh timing is the sweeper's responsibility. We used to have quarterbacks at class, and I would step in a quarterback, and I would, try to time this. And if your quarterback's trying to read coverages, catch the football, time the sweep, I just think it's very tough. And so we just have the quarterback kind of snap it around where the tackle is, and he'll get a feel for it. And it's the sweeper's job to get to the mesh when the quarterback has the ball. And the other problem the quarterback has is that center exchange is not always perfect. Sometimes it's low and to the right. Sometimes it's high and to the left. I'll show you a couple of examples of that. And so we want this guy, he can speed up or slow down, but he's going to build speed, and then he sees that ball snapped. He really starts to accelerate. So by the time he gets to the quarterback, I stand back there and just go boom, boom. The boom, the quarterback hands hit the football as he catches it, and boom, the sweeper covers it. And the better you can time that, the more deception you can get in the shotgun offense. So here's what I'm talking about. Now, the quarterback, he kind of looks, and he knows about where this tackle is, where this quarterback's signifying. He's going to snap the ball, and then that thing should get to the boom, boom. And again, you got to remember the rest of the offensive line standing up, defenses are reading their keys, and they may not catch who's got the ball. Even though the handoff is in front, you can still be somewhat deceptive. Nice job by that quarterback with his hands. So speed it up. Again, he's prancing a little bit, but he's building his speed. He's a little bit boom, boom. Not perfect, but again, I would say that that's not a great rep because the quarterback's got the ball and he's still a couple of steps away, and that's kind of how I judge it. Okay. So here's this angle. You see this guy, boom, boom. That's not bad. You see him change his speed. He's looking at the ball, bang. And they just get, with muscle memory, they're going to get better and better and better at this. Just keep practicing it. And again, I used to have cones, and I used to overcoach the heck out of this. But I want to be, when that ball hits the quarterback's hands, I'm going to get to the quarterback's hands. So we aim right in front of the quarterback. Again, I use a yard, but it could be, where just cover the ball. Cover the ball. Just like I say, a yard when he's here, he's trying to get a yard on his fly step. Sometimes he does. Sometimes it's a half yard. It's forgiving. They'll just get that. They just practice it and get the hang of it. All right, here's another school. Now, this is kind of an important point. So this kid, this is the first day we've ever done it. So he catches the shotgun and he slides. Okay, so you don't need to slide step when in the shotgun, in my opinion. Okay, and so good job slide. The other thing is, we've got coaches snapping the ball here, and every snap you've seen so far has been perfect. And so you've got to have your coaches occasionally put one high, put one to the right, put one here, because otherwise these guys just get lulled into a false sense of security. So you can see this coach does a nice job here. That one's a little high. Quarterback's got to snatch the football, put it in front of them, present it, and that's a good mesh. I think that's critical. Here's another one. This one now is low. Again, get the ball and get it to the mesh. So I want to show you this play here. So let's just kind of put some of this all together. And I'm showing this one. I'm going to go back to some drills, but just in case I don't get to a lot of film here. Let's go back to our numbering system. This guy is number 1. This guy would be number 2. This guy is number 3. And this guy is number 4. And so on this particular sweep, we're going to have this guy crack 2. This guy's going to go to 4. This guy's going to go to 1. And the way we're going to block, there's a lot of lines there. Number 3 is we're going to pull the guard, and we're going to have the quarterback run a quarterback trap that way, because we know these guys tend to really really key the guards. A lot of the teams that we play, they just stopped looking in the backfield because they're getting fooled by the deception. So they really, really watch the line. And all I want to show is this, again, everybody kind of knows where they're going. There's the crack, and there's the kick out, and we missed that, we missed that block, and maybe the sweeper could have helped him by getting back outside and going, which he probably should have done, and we get tripped up for 10 yards. But the point I want to make is, if you can watch the snap, this snap is basically almost on the ground. And so I've watched a lot of teams waste a lot of plays because of bad snaps in the shotgun offense. And we really wanted to knock that down and not have that be an issue. So if you watch our sweeper right now, his eyes are basically on the football, so that when the quarterback he just catches and holds it up, and we still got a good mesh and give good timing. And so I can't stress that enough in the shotgun, that that guy being the sweeper has got to be the guy that times it. He's got to get there when the quarterback catches the football. And here we are at Davis, again, early in the season, just putting that ball, timing it. You can see we have 2 groups going here. So here's one group here, and then there's going to be another group back here, and they're all running the same thing. Again, a good little condition. We let everybody try to run the sweep early on, and we pick our guys. All right, now let's go gun, and then let's catch. The only thing we change on the catch, now we're a little, again, it doesn't matter. This guy could be, it doesn't matter where this guy is per se. We've even had guys come from the pistol and get on the shotgun. You can beat the sweeper, but usually we were in a split back type of deal, or just one back. But this guy is going to take a jab step. We learned this, and then he's going to take his J step. And the jab is to time the ball. And so you can see it's kind of subtle, but you can see he kind of false steps. And now we can get into that wingtip to wingtip formation. This guy does not. And you can see the distance is so far that it would be relatively easy for a defender to come up and juke this guy and make the tackle. The idea is for this guy to be close enough so that when there's a block, he can play off it. So that's why we have the guy jab step. And one other thing about the running back, I used to just say go, like just go. And then the sweeper would get the ball and he'd be out here. And so that, the geometry of it was, that was 4, 5, 6 yards. So by having the J step, we made the much more like the old I toss, much easier for the back to have a 2-way go on this. A lot of times we'll put cones out here and then we'll call out plays for the quarterback to run. So here he's going to go ahead and run a backside trap or whatever you do with the quarterback. And it's a pretty good job here with the jab step. Sorry if you can't, if it's choppy, but that guy's just slow, so he probably didn't jab step too much. Again, just catch and go. That's a little slow. The idea here, this is a nice job. You see 31 just picks his foot up, puts it down, and they get in really good position. Okay, I'm going to show this just to, as we as we watch film. I don't know who this is, doesn't really matter, but I picked it because I'll just let you see it. This is a bad mesh. I mean, there's bodies flying and guys colliding, and it's got to be much more coordinated than that. And those drills I showed you, I think make it it's not like we do it all the time, but we practice it. We get enough reps every day that it becomes pretty easy for our guys to do it. I don't know if this guy, obviously he's got the football. In my system, or what we would do, this guy would come first, he would come second. Maybe they wanted him first and him second. I don't know what they're doing. Maybe the quarterback just jacked it up because he said hut and they snapped the ball. But, and again, they're just, that's not what we want. And so it's got to be boom, boom. I can't stress that enough. All right. Some of the guys we had at this particular stop, we had to teach them how to be elusive. They weren't naturals, but this back, what we're teaching this back is you're trying to get to this outside armpit, and you're trying to stay on the outside as long as you can. And then you can go ahead and stretch it and go, or you can go ahead and turn it up and go in, out, out, in. Put a little move on. So he goes in, out. That's a nice job. Sorry about the film. Let me show you another one. So we're just trying to simulate that last part of the play where here they do it wrong. So the sweeper's got to know that it's a tough look, and hey, it's not always going to be perfect. But again, we're just trying to teach them to manipulate that outside guy. That's a nice job right there. Stretch it as far as you can. It makes it an easier block. And then when we get to this position, we're aiming for the outside. But once we get past the numbers and we get close to the sideline, I'm telling this back, as soon as you make contact, go introduce that kid to his coach. Just take him right out of bounds, because we're not going to get around that. But we can certainly stretch it and hit like this kid is. And you'll see that on film. Nice move there. Nice little in-out move. Goes in, out, makes it an easier block, and we get the corner. So we work this at Davis. Just set up the block. We're obviously outside the numbers right now. Stretch it. Take this guy out of bounds. We're not going to make this out here. There is 8 yards from here to here, so we don't want to. We want to keep stretching it because we can get out into this area, and we have a name for this part of the field. If we can get out to this part of the field, then it's a big play. All right, nice job. So we talk about stretch it, and the pads collide, you cut. So let's pads collide, you cut. Not a bad job right there. That's hard to teach. Here's another way of teaching stretch it. So in this case, here's number 1, here's number 2. Again, there would be a 3 here. I did not have a number 4 here. I should have. But basically, we're cracking. We're going to lead. The whole point of this drill is to try to look at that corner and then stretch him. And that's a nice job right there. They do not want to get outflanked. Make the cut. All right, we're a big shotgun team at Davis. Not as much behind center as I've done at other places. So we have to work with this guy also on timing. And so here we're working inside zone footwork, the mesh zone. And in this drill, we're trying to get a good fake here. We want a good path here. And the quarterback could keep this. So really, he could have the ball, or he could have the ball. And so the whole idea is the quarterback's going to make a decision for this drill. There he handed it off. The other thing about the tailback, he has to time the ball also. So I have him watching the football too. Now our footwork should make a collision impossible. But it's boom, boom, and then the quarterback pulls it, and we can throw it to this guy, to the sweeper. We can hand it. So this is a good way for us to get our inside zone mesh with the quarterbacks, and we can steal some. The next couple of ones I'm going to show you are drills that I've come up with to try to steal reps during practice, so you're not just, you're not focusing so much on the fly sweep, but you're trying to incorporate other things into it. So here it is from this angle, and again, that's pretty good timing. Boom, boom, and the quarterback keeps it, throws it, doesn't have to, but that's the idea. Bang, bang. Again, make it so that everybody's confident with that timing. Last mesh I'm going to show you is what we call our red light mesh, which is basically a pin and pull. So tight end's going to block down, tackle's going to block out, running back is going to take a short J step and lead up, and we'll block number 3. This is what we use this against teams that are really overplaying the sweep. And a couple questions here. at a clinic in New Jersey, a coach said go on first sound because it's easier to time up. We go on the clap. I don't want to, because the ball, the reason we have the guy watch the ball is because the snap in the shotgun is not exact. And so I don't think it's the cadence that's a problem. I think it's the bad snaps. And use your foot. We use our foot in behind center, and we use a little hand motion in shotgun. Again, I don't think there's anything magical about either of those. Whatever you're comfortable with is good. So I probably didn't answer any of those. Perfect. All right. So here again, pin and pull. Timed it. Not a good timing there. I think the quarterback's holding the ball a little too long. Nice job. The reason we call it red or yellow or green is I want this guy to know where he's making the cut. Okay, red, he knows he's going to put his foot in the ground and go up. Yellow could either speed up, we might have to go up, we might have to go out. And then a green light is we're going out. That's why we use the stop sign. So here's again, pin and pull. And again, perfect. Outside hip, wingtip to wingtip. Everybody knows where they're going. And I just got tired of watching sweeps in my past where we're all running out here. And so he's out here and the linebacker's out here and the safety's out here and the corner's out here and we're all out here. And then I stop the film and there's like a 10-yard gash right here. And so teams that were really, so the whole idea is when teams overplay you, you got to answer. And so that's that. Here's another way to steal. The little warm-up drill. We're going to go ahead and our play action passes. If we use a fly sweep, this guy's check down route is this. We call it a wide, and we get a lot of mileage throwing the ball to the sweeper if it's covered downfield. And he usually we practice that throw with the quarterbacks. Good little warm up. Another one. This I would put this on. But we're doing a terrible job on the sled. This must be late in the drill because, I mean, it looks like the baton death march here. I mean, they kind of hit it and die. But what we're trying to do is, give this back, work the timing. We got a coach out here kind of simulating the stretch, and we're just stealing a rep. Again, good job, stretching it, pads collide, we make our deal. So anytime you can work that mesh in, I really encourage you to find as many ways as possible to do that. All right. Thank you, Darren. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. All right, let's get to some plays. This is going to be a yellow light sweep. So defensively, 1, 2, 3, is how we called it, and 4. So on a yellow light sweep, we're going to read this guy's block. You can, especially in a 2x2 set here, the guy who's going to read it is the lead back. He's going to take his J step. He's going to skip off the line of scrimmage and aim for the outside armpit. He doesn't want this guy to beat him inside. That's why we skip off. And I'm going to try to reach him. If I can't reach him by the third step, 1, 2, 3, I take him the way he wants to go. And again, our guy is not a freak in the weight room, but we move the guy from here to here using the guy's own energy. He created the whole force. We just read it. You tell the running back, see the butt, cut it up. When in doubt, take it out. And then the way we do it best way to do it against these guys, he's blocking number 1. I don't like this block because it takes a long time. So we have him go to number 4. And I'll show you a clip of that next. But again, number 3 shows up. See the butt, we cut it up, we turn up. Now one of these guys, we got to leave one of these guys for the sweeper. And so in this case, it's a safety, and he misses, but somebody runs him down, but it's a pretty good gain. And again, you can see from this angle, Pretty good mesh. The problem technique we reached. Good job by the running back. Good job by the DN. This guy's told not to let it get outside like most defenders. Keep leverage, and we take advantage of that. And a great athlete with a lot of room. 34 may not have been a great athlete, but he's running. All right. This is us against Cal last year. Again, here's one. Here's number 2. Here's number 3. Here's number 4. And here's the problem technique. The problem technique's an inside shade, so it's really not a problem. I'd like him to be a little bit more out trying to get this guy to think he's getting reached, but he does not want to get beat inside. If he did get beat inside, we tell our back to take him. But he turns them, see the butt, cut it up. We're going to the safety. And they do a nice job with their corner, falling back, but it's still 5-6 yard gain. He misses the tackle, we got everybody blocked. So you got to kind of pick your poison. I'd like it to be a big play every time, but if we get anything over 4 yards in our world, it's a good play. Now, again, a lot of teams are going to, in a one-back offense, are going to key your running back. So a good way to block number 3 is to fall scheme with the line and have this guy run in here. But now you only got 2 blockers. So now we're going to go ahead and he's going to block the most dangerous. So we're going to block this 1, 2, and we're going to block it 1, 2. And if 1 backs up and 4 comes down, so again, this is 1, 2, 3, and 4, then I'm going to go get 4. So watch. Looks like press. He sees 4 come down. He takes them. Now we're one-on-one with the deepest guy. We get angle, and we go. So you don't always have to have a lead back. But we're faking a counter. So you can see number 3 is blocked by the fake, like I showed you on that other film. We call this guy a runner. And he can be dangerous. He's got a lot of crap to get through to get to our guy. So by the time he makes the tackle, it's about 12 yards, 13 yards. So again, the timing is critical. Boom, boom. And he knows that he's going, not cutting it up. And again, he could easily have gotten here and maybe picked the runner off, and that would have been a better play. Tight end misses. Okay, here we're going to go ahead and go a green light sweep. So we're going to block this 21. So he's going to 2. And he's going to 1. I want you to watch this quarterback fake. I think that's really important. There's a nice crack block by the wide receiver. And again, pads collide. He hasn't made a decision. Stretch it. Pads collide, cut back, and we good big play. But again, watch the quarterback. The idea, you can't see the football. He's got 1, 2, 3 guys chasing him with this guy kind of hanging. That's a good football play. So we have really divided the defense in 2. Again, just like any run play, whether it be the A gap, B gap, or C gap, we've got somebody blocking down. We've got somebody blocking out, creating a lane. I think that's critical. Everybody knew where to go, what to do. Again, watch it from this end. So just watch the mesh, just the same things we did on the drill. Slide step, get on the outside hip, and go. A couple more here.
Yeah, Coach, you got just a few minutes left.
Okay, about 2-3 minutes.
Yep.
Okay, see if there's any, holy cow. Somebody said, do we ever read? This is awesome. I really love the great job part. I made that up. You ever read the sweep, either defensive end or back, or we do both? And we're going to do it on this play. And how do you block the outside linebacker if he comes up after motion to the D gap? Great question. Let's go. You're going to see that right here. So we're a big RPO team. We're a big tempo team. So people are kind of worried about that more than anything. fly stuff's just kind of a good compliment. But we're reading him, and we're blocking power. We're pulling the left guard here, and we're going to block this 142. So this guy, that's number 2. So this guy's going to 4. This guy's going to 1. This running back is going to 2. A lot of lines there. And I don't think we get a dang good block by anybody. And really, the inside number 3 kind of bounces off our guard and almost makes the tackle. And our running backs, that's not a very good block. And it's really not a very good, that's not a good stock block. And I think the tight end's trying to do a pretty good job here on the safety. But I don't think we really do a whole lot of anything, but we got a pretty good athlete here. And my contention, one of the reasons I've always liked the fly sweep, is that this D gap is pretty dang wide, and it's an open field tackling is a tough task for the defense. Let's get a guy out there, and he breaks it. They take a bad angle, and we're gone. Let's watch it from here. We're going to read this guy to answer your question. Sometimes against an odd defense, this is an even, and they play real wide 9 techniques. Sometimes against the odd defense, we'll read this linebacker instead of the defensive end. And it kind of depends what we want the quarterback to do. And again, I could talk for an hour on different ways of running this particular play. But here, the guy, if we tell him you're going to give the sweep unless you can't, you can give it. And again, right here, I mean, we've basically got a hat for a hat on everybody. And, the fact that we don't do a particularly great job of blocking. This kid, number 3 here, he hadn't run a whole lot of sweeps, so he kind of, again, sees the fool's gold. He could have stretched this thing. It would have been maybe an easier play, or we could have got it to a 2-yard gain. So here's another one we're going to read. And we talked about different angles, or excuse me, different edges. Here we have a guard and a tackle, and everybody, we're in an extreme unbalance into the boundary, and we knew they were going to go over with us. So we're going to read this guy, and he knows that, hey, I'm leading it, and I got number 1. That's all there is. I'm the only guy that can go. So everybody knows where they're going. 21 steps down. We hand the sweep. Again, in high school, I talked about trying to always get the outside number as hard as you could. Even if it wasn't a great block, just hit them as hard as you could. Try to make them bounce. College, we can cut. So that's a really good cut block. But again, a lot of action going the other way. This kid was a pretty good Wildcat quarterback, so we got the power going with him. He could keep it. The other thing we've gone to, and I don't think I have film, but our quarterback the last couple of years wasn't a runner. And so we would still run the same exact play, but now this guy would become a shovel. So if this guy played out for the sweep, we'd shovel it. If this guy steps down, we'd hand it off. And, you could shovel it to a tailback on this side, split back. There's all kinds of ways you can get somebody in here to shovel. But that's been a pretty good play for us also. So watch it from here. We're just reading. 8's going to read. Give it unless you can't. I can give it. And now we're just out to the field. I got a couple things about beat you with the sweep or beat you with the sweep. Here we're going to go ahead, give this ball to the sweeper, and then great acting job of being a lousy blocker and break. And again, just an unlimited amount of stuff to keep you interested. I've been coaching for a long time. I'm still interested. A lot of things we can do. I think this is the last one. If I actually finish this, it'll be amazing. But again, different formation for us. We got a tight end and a wide receiver, so we call that edge 3 in my world, but it doesn't really matter. We know we're going to block at 142. He's got 1. He's got 4. He's got 2. And we figured we could outrun 3. Nice job of the sweep. But again, it all goes back to what I showed you, the timing and everybody kind of having an idea where to go. Again, not always great blocks, but good enough. Hang on a sec here. quarterback footwork when reading, we try to have him take at least one hop step. It's I think the hop step is easier when you're reading. I mean, it's necessary when you're reading a defensive end. When you're reading a linebacker, a lot of times they're moving before the ball's even snapped. And so you don't necessarily have to take that big of a jab step. But that's something we work with our quarterbacks a lot on, is just that read. Always steal some reps in special teams, or sometime we can get a little bit of work on it. And yeah, we throw a lot of four verts, a lot of air raid. I mean, I don't know what we throw the heck out of the ball with this thing. A lot of four verts. You can get a lot of ways to run four verts with it. And I wish I had more time, but one of my favorite ways is to have this guy go here and that outside guy go here, and then the sweeper or the tailback go right down the seam. I know the Rams do that a lot, with the other fourth guy being here. And then the sweeper is always the check down. And that's the key thing, I think, on play action passes, having your sweeper be the check down guy. I'll show you one red light sweep from behind, and then we're gonna call it. Actually, it's better from this angle. But we know we're running a red light, so we're gonna pin, pull, and create that hole, because these outside guys all want to go away from. They want to get outside. So you can see a pretty big gash. It's hard to see on that one, but we just tackle miss the block. But that's the idea of hitting a red light sweep. So hey, if you want to email me, there's my email, and this is my Twitter thing. I'm a Jigger Twitter handle, I guess you call it. But always love talking the sweep, and appreciate this opportunity. Let me see if there's any more questions. Do I have time for any more questions?
Unfortunately, Coach, we gotta wrap it up now. If anybody else has any questions, I guess they can hit you there on your email or on Twitter or something, and get in touch with you there.
My time's up, so I'm calling it. Appreciate you guys. Thanks.
Thank you, Coach. Really appreciate you sitting down and taking the time today.